ArcheryAddicts.com. Today we're going to be reviewing the K&K Archery's new Vengeance. This is a 33-inch axle-to-axle bow. Has a 7-inch brace height with 80% let off. Reported top IBO speeds are in the 338 range. When I got this bow from the factory, the axle-to-axle was set at 32 7/8, so it's right there in industry specs. Draw length was dead nuts at 29 inches, and the draw weight was 71.8 pounds. I took this thing straight to the range and set it up with what you see on it right now, which is a string loop. Had a peep installed, got the Vapor Trail Limb Driver Pro V rest that I put on there, and of course my Spot Hog sight. I took it to the archery range, got a 398 grain arrow, shot it for average, got speeds right around 306 on average. That came out with an IBO speed of right around 330 feet per second. So it's, it's falling right in that, right in the range of where it needs to be. This bow, go over some of its features real quick. The cams on this bow are a Teflon coated variable feed rate hybrid cam. Very interesting design. Kevin put a lot of thought into this cam design. One of the benefits of the feed out and take up rate on these cams is that you're going to get some faster speeds and a very, very smooth draw. One of the very first things you're going to notice about this bow, and I did when I pulled it out, when you draw this bow, it draws like nothing else on the market. Unbelievably smooth. Transitioning into the valley is like butter. You've never felt anything like it. Very, very impressed with what he's doing. On these cams, he also has rotating modules, so you can set your draw length just by removing a couple of screws, rotating the mod, and you're good to go. It comes with an extra mod in it if you need half-inch increments, and on top of that, the numbers on the mods are actually laser engraved on them, so it's not just a guessing game with marks or weird numbers that some of the manufacturers like to put in there. Limb pockets on these, he redesigned the limb pockets this year, and they're actually a dual lockdown system with 3-point alignment. So once those limbs are locked in, what it does is it actually helps eliminate limbs shifting a little bit left or right, which is a problem that some of the manufacturers have found with split limb bows, especially when we start maxing out the speeds and getting performance levels that we're getting these days. The limbs, I believe, are made by Barnsdale. The nice thing is K&K Archery has gone out of their way to ensure that the deflections on these limbs are plus or minus a half a pound. That's really, really good in this industry. That's a lot stricter than the majority of the manufacturers that I have tested hold their standard to. And the thing where you most benefit from that in this industry is with limb twist. If you have your limb deflections that are off by a couple of pounds, then you're going to start getting into issues with the limb twist. He did a phenomenal job of making sure that these are matched up. The grip on this bow, all of the designs that Kevin Strother, one of the owners of the company, has kept this grip design, and I absolutely love it. It's a very, very thin, narrow-throated, kind of a torque-reducing grip. Fits the way that I shoot very well. Really enjoy this grip, and I hope he never goes away from it. And he's got some really nice wood grips on side plates on the grip that just wonderful bow. Cable rod. A lot of people in the industry are starting to use something very similar to this. This is a torque reducing rod, and this thing is Teflon coated, and what it does is it helps to reduce some of the side torque or the lateral torque during the draw cycle. Real important that what they report in here is that it helps to reduce with limb failure issues, because as all of you know, with a straight cable guard, when you get into your draw cycle, you're creating a ton of torque on the limbs and also on that cam to the lateral side. And by putting in this angled torque reducing guard during the draw cycle, it takes a lot of the stress off of that. So some of the limb failure issues that you've seen with some of the high performance companies that are out there right now, some of their bows, this type of a cable rod is going to greatly reduce the amount of limb failures that you have, and reportedly that improves accuracy. I don't know how I can actually prove that, but I can tell you that this bow is extremely accurate. Couple of things that we're going to go over. I'm going to show you guys some video of me shooting the bow. I'm going to shoot it without a stabilizer, then I'll shoot it with a stabilizer so you guys can get a feel for the shot of the bow both ways and the noise level coming out of this thing. Unbelievable bow. You're really impressed with what Kevin's done. Once I'm done showing you those videos, we'll come back and I'll give you the final report card on the bow. And that's also going to have, I sent this out to get optimized, or some people say super tuned, and get some custom strings and cables put on by John's Custom Archery, Breathing, on the site, guys. And I'll go over some of the stats that we got from that, and we'll go from there. So hang on just a second and we'll get you some video going. K&K Vengeance. We ship them with a stabilizer. K&K Vengeance. Well, as you guys can see from the video, it's a very good shooting bow. Very quiet, very vibe free. Phenomenal draw cycle on this bow. I really enjoy shooting it. Very quiet. When I got this bow, like I said, it came from the factory and it was set up at 29 inches, 71.8 pounds of draw, and it IBO'd roughly at 330. I sent it out to Breathing on the site, John's Custom Archery. Had him do an optimization. I hate to use the term super tuning. We just won't go there right now, but he optimized the bow. And one of the reasons that I do that, we all know that you get a bow from the factory, it's going to be set up relatively decent, but they don't have the time to optimize the bow. That takes a lot of time. When you send it out to somebody like Breathin' or Scotty, PA, what they do is they go through and they spend the time to absolutely get this bow as perfect as it can possibly get in the tune department. So they optimize it, and when it came back from John, it was set dead nuts at 29 inches, 70.4 pounds, and the IBO was up at 342. So you can see that there was a significant increase. That's a 12 foot per second increase in what he did. And the reason that I do that is I want you, the consumer, to see what the true potential is of a piece of equipment. You may get it from the factory and it may not be quite as impressive as you were hoping, but when you have somebody optimize it, you get to see the absolute true potential of that model. And that's what we did here, and this is a perfect example, because even with 20 grains on the string, rough estimate, it was shooting a 400 grain arrow at 311 feet per second, so that came out at a 342 IBO. My final report card on the Vengeance, factory options, I gave it a 10 out of 10. For the camo options that they have, all of the different options that you can get from the company, it is absolutely unbelievable. Dry fire coverage, Um, they have gone above and beyond in the warranty department, and kudos to them for that. Fit and finish on this bow, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Not a single nick that I could find anywhere on limb pockets, on the actual riser, the limbs, the cams. Everything came in absolute perfect condition. Cost comparison. I like to throw cost comparison in there because there's been a little bit of angst in the industry right now about the price of some of the bows that are out there and whether or not it's a justified cost. So I kind of take an average of what the pro shop only bows would be and where these fall in. The price on the Vengeance is under $800, so they got 5 out of 5 on that. They kept the cost down. This bow should go for a lot more than it is, but kudos again to K&K. Strings, we got a 4 out of 5 on the factory strings that came in. They were really good. There was not excessive peep rotation or stretch. There was a little bit after about 400 or 500 shots through it, so couldn't give them exactly a perfect score, but 4 out of 5 is not bad, especially for factory strings. Factory setup, they got a 9 out of 10. There was a very, very slight cam lean. Very, very easily adjusted, and I hate to even bring it up, but it was something that was noted. A couple of twists in the yoke, and we were right back to dead center. Draw cycle, 10 out of 10. Again, I wish I could give bonus points for this, because until you felt it, you just absolutely cannot believe the draw cycle on this bow. Absolutely unbelievable. Feel, as far as the grip, stability, back wall, the weight of the bow, I gave him a 10 out of 10. Again, very, very well designed. Really enjoying this bow. Tunability, I gave him a 9 out of 10. And the only reason that I marked him down a point, center shot on this bow actually came in at 15/16 from the factory. While that's not excessive, it's a little bit further out than I'd like to see, but it's shooting great. I have no issues with any of my accessories working, so they weren't dinged very bad on that one. At the shot, vibration, recoil, and noise, again, 10 out of 10. This bow, I wish I could give it bonus points. It is without a doubt leading the industry right now. Absolutely phenomenal. Accuracy, again, 10 out of 10. Got this thing set up from the factory, started busting knocks right off the bat. Wasn't used to the bow, hadn't shot the bow, immediately busting knocks at 30 yards. That tells you that the accuracy potential is not only there, but for somebody like me to shoot that, it's got to be pretty incredible. IBO rating, again, get a 10 out of 10. It was from the factory. It was right there in what their advertised IBO specs are, and especially after coming back from John's, it came in with a 342 IBO, which is well above what the advertisements were. So overall, we've got a 98 out of 100 possible points. Stellar bow. Just did an absolute wonderful job, and really excited to see what comes out in 2012 from K&K Archery. If you have any questions, again, log on to archeryadx.com, look me up, DOA guide. Feel free to PM me any questions, and I'll answer them as best I can.